Good evening, Neil. Good evening, Wayne, and good evening, Eden. So today I'll be breaking down the scripts and the pipeline in this video. So every pipeline breaks for the same reason: wrong file version, wrong pivot, bad geometry, wrong color space going into the engine. At this point, it doesn't matter because ACES has become standard. It doesn't matter if you're building a metahuman, a game prop, or a VFX creature. These are the common failure points. What I'm about to show you is a metahuman production, but the tools I built to survive it are metahuman tools. They are pipeline tools. Let me show you what distinction, or let me speak to you, or let me convey what the distinction is and why that matters. In any asset pipeline, content moves from a creation tool, that could be sculpting, ZBrush, your standard DZC, which is Maya or Blender, whatever, into a real-time engine. This could be Unreal, this could be Unity, this could be CryEngine, or whichever custom pipeline you end up serving. Every handoff along that path is a simple place where things go wrong. And a student, when you're a student and in a student production, there isn't a studio TD, although you do have lecturers and people to guide you. Since this is a master's degree, a master's, you are researching your masters. There, the TD team, you don't have a TD team to catch these mistakes for you. So, based on university standards and based on the softwares available in the DC in the university, I built a pipeline to catch these errors. So, not for metahumans specifically, although my briefs that does state that metahumans. I wanted to focus on metahumans, but I'm trying to show you how these scripts can be used or how these things can be used on, let's say, on a wide angle, in a wide angle. For and for the handoff itself, students can use them to make sure that their work is done right and done properly. So the architecture of these scripts or the pipeline in itself, it's split into two layers. The top layer is content specific. Today, that's MetaHuman phase going in through Character Creator and Maya. So what we're going to why we use Character Creator is because Character Creator has a bunch of downloadables. They have a wide library, although they are quite pricey. They do have a better library than Unreal Engine when it comes to characters and skin maps. And you can use them to export them, and you can use the prop, the the 3D mesh. You can take it into Character Creator. You can get the face done, textured. You can bring it back with all that you need. You can take it into Substance Painter. You can take those maps, extract those maps, and then bring it in. You can project them and you can adjust them with if you're fairly used to using colors and subsurface and all of the layers and skin. You're used to detailing skin, then you can get a quite quite decent skin texture rather than relying on textures XYZ and when you just project onto them. But you could do that. You could do an infinite variations of the same using just one program. You do not have to buy individual maps. Um, so today it's a metahuman face going through character creator, like I said, and Maya. Tomorrow it could be a prop and an environment kit or a VFX rig. Doesn't really matter. Bottom layer is what I actually built. The pipeline layer. It doesn't know or care what asset is passing through it. It genuinely doesn't care. Um, it just enforces the same discipline every time, which is save state, pivot standard, geometry sanity, and color correction. I mean, the color space, whichever, or the correct color ingestion. The separation is the whole point. If I swap out the top layer, the bottom layer doesn't change. That's what makes this a pipeline pattern, not a metahuman script. Now I'll take you through each and every script. The script called Revention autosave, what it does is, let's say we have a sphere here. any sphere. It could be a ball, it could be a sphere, it could be planet, it could be Jupiter for all I care. It's not a huge problem. So you will just say I'm in the modeling phase. For one, our ROG stands for rig dev phase, LDV stands for look dev phase, MDO stands for modeling phase, GRM stands for grooming phase, SIM stands for simulation phase, ANM stands for animation phase, and the rest is let's say skin, and then the other two are, it depends on how your production standards are set. You can use them as you wish. Um, so I'm gonna set a base name for this. Let's say I say Jupiter, and I'm going to set a custom path to my desktop, and my desktop, rather than sessions or anything else, I'm just going to say new folder, and I'm going to name it saying this is let's say Jupiter underscore MDL. Could be model or anything that you say. And then I'm going to say start autosave. Right. So it saves as a Maya file. Pretty simple. As a Maya file, I'll be demonstrating all of it using Maya ASCII, and as a Maya file, MDL. So that's pretty much it. So right now, put it as rig. I want it to be a model file. So I want it to be done every 1 minute. So hit start. It saved Jupiter MDL V001. Right. And the last save time shows up, and the next save time shows up, and it's going to be in 39 seconds. And once that is done, let's just see. Right, so it's saved at Jupyter model v002.ma. I'd be confused as to where the files are. The files are in Jupyter MDL, and the first one's a mistake, so we could just delete that. I said that on purpose. But as you can see, Jupyter MDL v001, Jupyter MDL v002. Now, if you go into production and you have meetings with the client saying, we need you to set this up in set format. We need you to set this up in a certain way. We have problems with this and that. We need version control. This is version control without complicated software or licensing based on a script. And you can set this up so that every fourth previous file gets deleted. You wouldn't need 4 versions, anything previous to 4 versions. I'm pretty sure in production that's not a problem. So let's say you can say you put um, Jupiter BASE underscore MDL in every minute. It's going to just save to that desktop file. I mean, to the location that you set, and it's pretty much done. So now that's it. Next up, we have pivot tube. Now, this may sound really small, but having the right pivot when you submit your file matters. And having the right pivot, be it a MetaHuman pipeline, a VFX pipeline, or let's say any other pipeline, it matters. Now, when you hand off, there are a couple of things that you check in every single system or every single file, which is a sanity check. Make sure that the UVs are right, make sure that the topology is right, make sure you do not have flip faces, make sure you have abnormal normals, and the final step would be in most production quality control would be you make sure that you have a proper pivot. And fun fact, I had a huge board, a really huge board where I could place thumbtacks and I could pin nodes. So I had about 25 to 60 nodes when I came in this year, and all I used was thumbtacks. So with the little amount of money I had, I bought thumbtacks. So I named the script thumbtack. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the sphere the exact same way, and we're going to name it let's say divisions are 3. So 3 by 3 by 3 is standard division. But now you also have to bear in mind that this is based on the bounding box of said object. And bounding boxes vary. Keep that in mind. That isn't my problem. It's my itself. You're going to draw lines if you want to, or you can just create a grid. Right now, there's a center pivot. I'm going to set divisions to 3. I'm going to create a grid. Now, these anchors, or if you go to the grid, these are all locators that are created, and not ignore that now, but each locator serves as you click on the locator and the pivot is set. This is also based on a previous Maya 3ds Max script that stopped development in 1990. I think it was in 2000. So we're going to create again, and let's say I want the pivot to be at the base, at the root. I'm just going to click there, and voila, you have it. A downside of the script being, although let's try this again, it creates scripts, it does it, but at times it does create a keyframe, and that keyframe will be deleted automatically. I think that's kind of solved as we're not using keyframes anymore. And this is the second version, but the first version did have keyframes. We're going to do the same thing again with lines. Now that you see why it does what it does, now you see how the grid is, now you see the bounding box come into action, now you see clear locators. And if you click here and you just click 4, you can see what's going on. So it still works. The script is still functional. And then if I click on it and then hit 5, so you have a new pivot. And the pivot works. So that's Thumbtack as a script. So for GeoMaster, this script is called GeoMaster. And now, once you have your file save set up, once you have the pivot set up, then you need to check if my topology is good. You need to check if I have non-manifold edges, if I have laminar faces, if I have non-planar faces, if I have UVs that aren't connected together. If I need to check if UVs are within the UDIM. I need to check if there are cross-border UVs, like I said, within the UDIM itself. I need to check if there are missing UVs. All of these with an output log that says, just click run diagnostics, and you're pretty much done. So since this is a basic sphere and everything runs, everything is fixed, but there is an error here. Now, you might think, why the error, right? So it's a dual-edged sword. One might want it, one might not want it, but every asset in the pipeline and every asset in a scene that is being created needs a shader assigned. And now, if you think about it, every single substance file, in Substance Painter, you need a shader assigned to make sure. Is the way I do it. I assign a shader and I say that part goes there. Or if I need to assign, if I need to assign a specific face per shader, then I just assign a specific shader so I can just texture there, and then I don't have to worry about creating mask. So default shader, just like there, one there. And construction history, because we do have construction history, like previously we did change the pivot point and we did try to rotate. And everything else is just fine. And then you've got your output log so that you can just check and verify every single time. So that's GeoMaster. When it comes to color spaces, you're going to select the object. And on selecting the object, since this is an R0 pipeline, and every single Maya render, we can modify the script to support RenderMan. We can modify the script to support V-Ray, and we can also modify the script. We don't have to modify the script. It's basically set up for Arnold. So I am pretty sure any production standard, any company will be using Arnold 2023 plus. So versions that have come bundled with Arnold with Maya 2023 plus will be able to use the script. I'm pretty sure we won't be having problems with them because they did do a thing where they played with the standard surface shader and they played with the Arnold standard surface shader. So that has been corrected using the script. So now you have the polysphere. You're going to load the diffuse, the roughness, the metalness, and the normalness, and you're just going to click apply textures, and they're going to load with the exact color space. For example, if you were to add a roughness file, it would automatically set the color to correct, like set it to this fit the exact color space. Even you could do it with faces, where you could just assign existing material. You can go to Lambert, you can just select the face mode, and you select, and you can select, and you can see that it has been assigned to just set face, where you don't really need to worry much. Uh, so that's that. So that's pretty much it. So now I want you to try and swap layers, swap scripts, modify it, make it easier. Try using it on both. You can use it in MetaHuman. I tried it on MetaHuman. I've tried it on VFX assets. I've tried it on regular assets. I've tried it on rigs. It doesn't break the rig, unfortunately. It. I've tried it on everything else as well. Um, so here's the claim. A13x is not just pipeline scripts. These are scripts made available open source and free in the GitHub repo, and they are quite good. I believe they're good. At least, hopefully, they'll do good, and they will outlive your problems, which means they are the solution to your problems in every way. And hope that helps. Thank you for watching.